Hi, it's Verity here from inkybutterfly.wordpress.com, and today I am bringing you this sweet little bauble style tag. And it opens up at the top like so to reveal the little message with a little bit of heat embossing on the back. So I thought this was a kind of nice little cute little project, a bit different to my usual card making projects. So that's what we're going to make today. Already cut some bits and bobs in advance to save some time. So that's that. Stamp set we're featuring is the Merry Little Labels. So this example uses Eat, Drink and Be Merry, and we've also got an example using the For You as well. And the inside uses this nice for and from sentiment that we're going to actually stamp using markers so that we can get a two-tone look on that. Just for some extra decoration, we're going to just borrow one of the small stars. This little teeny tiny star from Star of Light is going to be used to create the decoration on the back. Okay, so that's what we're using today. Right, so as I say, I've already prepped some bits and pieces already. So we're going to do a green version with the For You, and we're also going to do sorry, this one is Cherry Cobbler around the edge there, just peeking out on the back there. This is Garden Green, and then this is Elegant Eggplant. Okay. So the shapes I have already cut. So I'm using the gold foil, which I die cut using one of the layering circles, scalloped edge framelets, and then the coloured cardstock has been cut with a slightly smaller regular circle. So the layering circles contain both scalloped and straight edge framelets that stack together to make all these lovely layers. So those two I have already die cut ahead of time, just so that you don't have to sit and watch me crank all those through. So you can see there's two gold pieces, two coloured pieces for each of those. This green one I've already actually stamped and embossed with the For You sentiment, and here's my other one I'm going to punch. So this has been stamped on very vanilla cardstock, and felt like the white would be too bright against the colours, so that's what I've done. Stamped that in Versamark, heated and embossed it in gold, and this is the 2 1/4 inch punch, which I'm just going to use to punch out that sentiment. So these punches are really great in that if you flip them over, you can see exactly where you're going to punch, so you can get that nice and straight. Quick squeeze, and there it is, popped out. That's lovely. So we don't need to use that again, that can go away. So that's those elements. Okay, so I think what we'll do now is we will do the decoration for the back panels. Okay, so like I say, it's this tiny little star which I've mounted onto one of the little tiny A blocks, and we're going to use some Versamark ink. So this is a clear sticky ink which we can then put our embossing powder over, and it will stick to that so that we can then emboss over that. So some light tapping on there and some random stamping, goes off the edges as well, looks more natural that way. Try and avoid doing a pattern, although that's easier said than done sometimes. See, seem to have some lines there, look, see, even though you try and be random. Let's put one there. Now, what I didn't do was use an anti-static bag, so I might get a bit of a few speckly bits. On there. So let's leave that to one side, put this away. And I'll get my little, what's it? Embossing buddy was there ready and I forgot to use it. Never mind. Okay, so just use this tray to try and contain the powder. So it is slow drying, so you do have a little bit of time to get that powder on. Just tap that off. There we go. Just this tray makes it easier to tidy up. I'll just get that out of the way before I start heating. No, because these are small, I'm just going to use a pair of tweezers to hold on to them as well. Get my heat gun ready. Okay, so I'm just going to do one of these. Okay, so this is I'm going to put the heat gun on, just warm it off up to one side just for a second, and then bring it to the project. So sorry. So that's that one done. Okay, that makes beautiful. I'll get this one done. So now this is nice and warm, hopefully it'll cook a little faster. Sorry, heat gun's going on again, so just sorry about the noise. Okay, just put that to one side. So the paper does warp slightly, but once you've stuck it down, it will be fine. Okay, right. In fact, we'll do that straight away. We'll get those put onto the back of one of these, and we're just going to use some fast fuse for that. Okay, you want plenty on. Sticking onto the foil sheet, it can be a bit tricky. It is a slick surface, so things can peel away. But a few strips of nice fast fuse, which is very, very, very strong. So we just want to try and line that up as best as we can into that. So that's the back done. Okay, and then for these ones we need some dimensionals, like a bit of dimensional adhesive. Okay, don't need loads. Right, so they're ready to go as well. And then the get your flicks to break off your tape, and then you won't get into a sticky mess with your fuse. So again, we're just going to lie that on there, stick that down. Okay, so peeling the back off your dimensionals is really easy. I mean, I've got nails, so I do find it reasonably nice and quick to do. If you struggle, there's a little. So just put that down centrally. Sorry if my head got in the way then. If you actually press your nail into the back of the foam pad, it actually lifts the edge. I've used foam adhesive for years, and it was always tiny little squares, and they were so small. These are actually very easy to peel away. So let's see if we can get that nice and straight as well. It's about right. Cool. So we have that. So now I want to show you how I made this sort of bauble top. Okay, so this has actually been made using this circle tab punch. So this is designed to sort of mark pages in a planner or a calendar, so you get a shape that looks like this. So again, I've cut this out of gold foil. Of course, you could use any of the foils, whatever takes your fancy. So I've already cut those two, but they don't have the hole in there. So what I've actually done is used a 1/2 inch punch. Now, because of the size of it, it's very difficult to judge just by eyeballing it whether you're going to be in the centre or not. So what I've done is I've already punched a little 1/2 inch circle there, and I'm going to use a little glue dot, and I'm going to position it where I want that hole to be on my bauble top. So try and get it kind of in the middle. Okay, so now you've got that, what you can then do is slide your punch in over the top of that, and once it's lined up, punch it and it's in the right place. Okay, so that would be difficult to do if you couldn't see where to punch. Okay, so we're just going to bend that over and line up the bottom there. And now, of course, you've already got your little hole there that we can now use to line up this punch. So if it's a bit small, so you might need to use your pokey tool or stylus or something just to fit that in as close as you can, and punch. Okay, just slide that out, and there we have it, our little bauble topper. Okay, so that's that. Okay, so put that to one side, and of course now we've got another one that we can use to make our little template for the second one. Okay, so again we're just going to position that on there in the middle. It's a bit high. There we go, line it up over the top because you can see it. There we are. And then we can flip it over and do exactly the same thing. So not difficult, just a little fiddly. Okay, get rid of all the rubbish. Okay, so there's our 2 toppers. Okay. Now then, before we assemble, we need to put our little message stamp on the inside of these. So at the moment it doesn't matter which way up it is, that's why you do it now. So then when it comes to it you can actually line it up. Okay. Now with the scallop, because there's a scallop, what I do is I line it up and I sort of make sure the it's roughly lined up. Okay. Sometimes the scallops will be in one position or another, sort of thing. Okay, so Stampin' Right markers. So I'm using the Cherry Cobbler and Garden Green Stampin' Right markers. Okay, these contain exactly the same ink that is in our ink pads. So they're an alternative if you want to do watercolouring techniques and that kind of thing. Okay, so they have 2 tips on them. So there's a bullet tip, so you can do nice writing, colour coordinated writing, and then we've got a brush tip as well. Okay, so we're going to use the brush tip for this technique. Okay, so we'll start with the red, and the stamp has got some little holly berries down here as well. Okay, so we're just going to colour over, put your marker on the side. You don't want to down like you're writing. Do it on the flat side of the brush and just brush that ink where you want it. Okay, and then you can sort of decide. I mean, on the original I think I had the font in red, rather than the line in green. Let's do it this way around. Okay, so that's that, and then we'll use the green marker again on the side like so. Just brushing over the top of that impression. Now, depending on how complex the stamp is, this could take a little while, and the ink will actually dry on the stamp if you're taking a little time over it. However, never fear. What you can do is re-wet your ink by breathing on it. So you have to huff on it. Okay, so just a bit of moisture from your breath will actually moisten that enough for you to then be able to stamp that image over the tops. Give that a nice firm press, lift it off, and there you have a nice sort of two-tone stamped image, which is not, it's nicer than doing it in one plain colour, because hollyberries and leaves are red and green, so that's nice that you can get that two-tone look. Okay, so let's just do that again for the other one. Okay, just over the top. There's another image in this set, the Let It Snow, with a little deer, which is again perfect for this kind of technique. So you can do all the little elements in different colours. And have your little deer in brown and the trees in green and stuff, so it's very, very pretty. Okay, so again, a little bit of a huff on it. And give that a press. So now all we have to do is put these together. So let's just make sure we've got all our backs and our fronts the right way. So we're just going to use a little bit of liquid glue, the Tombow multi-purpose glue, and we're just going to put the teeniest amount just along the bottom edge. That's not a teeny amount at all. Just spread that out a little bit. Do not need a lot. Literally just across the bottom edge of that little tag top thing, and then you want to line this up so it's straight with the top of your sentiment, and you're going to need to hold on to that for a little while to let that glue firm up. Okay, I actually used a little peg earlier. Okay, so while that's just going to apply some glue to this side now, just a little bit. It doesn't need a lot. Okay, so I'm going to line that up first so that you don't end up with it having a bit of a wonk on it, and then bend that over and position that. Again, you will have to hold on to it just for a couple of seconds while it grabs. Any glue that squidges out, don't worry, you can remove that afterwards. Just wipe it away. Which I will do afterwards. Okay, so it's just so a little bit of a tip would be to use one of your acrylic blocks and just sort of sit that on there. Okay, let's do the other one. Same again, just a little bit of dab of glue. That's much more reasonable amount of glue on there. That should be nice. Tombow's very strong, so you really don't need a lot. And it does dry quite quickly as well. Fast grab. Just gives you that few seconds of wiggle room though. Which is nice when you're trying to line things up and do boxes and things like that, where, you know, you want to be sure things are lined up. So, I'm trying to be so gentle and barely putting any pressure on this glue. Okay, so again, line the back up first so that it's going to be positioned correctly. And press that down. So this one should be fine now. Yep, it's nice and set. And then we can wipe away any excess glue afterwards. So the only thing left to do is to add the ribbon. So I've cut about 8 inches of this lovely natural trim. This is sort of off-white, so that sort of goes with the Very Vanilla, and obviously it's got the gold stripe through, matches beautifully. You could of course use anything you like. If you're using silver foil, there's a silver version of this this thread as well. Okay, so we're going to loop it through the front, thread the ends through, just like that, and fiddle as you desire with the ends and things. So it's usually nice to just snip those off at an angle, like so. Okay, so that's that. So that can be attached to a parcel as a gift tag. And then we can do the same with this one as well. That one moved slightly. This one. You do need to give that a little bit of time. The foil cardstock as well. You just need to give it just a little bit of time to set. But if you do that, it'll be super duper. Okay. So there we have it. 3 little bauble tags ready to go on presents. If you wanted to, you could actually just make them into flat baubles for your tree. You could just not put the hinge on and just decorate the back, and they could just hang as baubles as well. Okay, I hope you've enjoyed that project. So when will I be seeing you next? In a couple of weeks' time. In a couple of weeks' time, and then we'll be really close to Christmas. It'll be 16th-ish, 16th, 17th. So I'll probably have some exciting news of some upcoming stuff for you then. So stand by your seats, and I shall see you in a couple of weeks. All the information about how I made these will be actually written down in my blog. The address will be in the down bar below. If you do like this video, then please give me a thumbs up. That would be really, really cool. If you really, really like it, you can even subscribe. And I will see you again soon. Okay, take care. Bye bye.